His meeting is now in order. Today is Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. We're meeting via video conference in accordance with legislation extending virtual access to public meetings under the New York State Open Meetings Law. Attending today's meeting, Commissioners McNaughton, Chalmers, and Jackson Chalmers and Cassidy. Mr. Banaszak from the City of Albany Assistant Corp Counsel. Talani El-Yomadi, City of Albany Human Resources Department. Tatiana Diaz, City of Albany Human Resources Manager. Melissa Shea, Albany Housing Authority. Seville Barber, Albany Parking Authority. Melanie Metzger, Albany Public Library, and Andrea West, Albany City School District. Welcome, and the meeting is now called to order. Commissioners, everybody have an opportunity to review the minutes, April 28th.
Yes, and I'd like to move to accept the meetings, the minutes of the meeting, April 28th, 2022.
I second that.
Second.
Passed and carried. Agenda item 3, report of appointments to the competitive, non-competitive, exempt, and labor class. The Civil Service Office reported on the following permanent appointments in the competitive class. Starquia McNeil, Data Entry Operator, Police Department, 4/25/2022. Florida Baker, Library Assistant, Albany Public Library, 4/11/2022. Raouf Khalil, Library Assistant, Albany Public Library, 4/18/2022. Bonnie Wielt, Library Clerk, Albany Public Library, 4/18/2022. Samantha Morales, Telecommunications Specialist, Police Department, 5/23/2022. Civil Service Office reported on the following permanent promotions in the competitive class. All on the Fire Department. I'm sorry. The following are in the Fire Department. Patrick Hines, Fire Battalion Chief, 4/30/2022. Cody Morton, Fire Captain, Fire Department, 4/30/2022. Eric Shaw, Fire Lieutenant, Fire Department, 4/30/2022. Ian Grovinger, Fire Lieutenant, Fire Department, 4/30/2022. Kyle Kearney, Fire Lieutenant, Fire Department, 4/30/2022. Matthew Pagano, Fire Lieutenant, Fire Department, 4/30/2022. And Michael Sleesman, Fire Lieutenant, Fire Department, 4/30/2022. In the Police Department, Adam Lahara, Police Sergeant, Albany Police Department, 4/30/2022. And Nathaniel Myers, Police Sergeant, Albany Police Department, 4/30/2022. The Civil Service Office reported on the following provisional appointments in the competitive class. Allison Currand, Director of Fiscal Operations, Department of Administrative Services, 5/23/2022. Paulo Gonzalez, Environmental Engineering Technician, Department of General Services, 5/12/2022. Shamichael Cowan, Human Resources Generalist 3, Department of Administrative Services, 5/12/2022. I'm sorry, 4/4/2022. Tasif Rame, Information Clerk, General Services, 5/9/2022. Kenneth Ford, Licensed Automotive Inspector, Department of Water, 5/31/2022. Avi Epstein, Principal Planner, Department of Planning, 5/23/2022. Justin Johnson, Sanitation Equipment Operator, General Services, 5/12/2022. Michael Wimbush, Sanitation Equipment Operator, General Services, 5/12/2022. Anthony Williams, Sanitation Equipment Operator, General Services, 5/12/2022. Kevin Butler, Sanitation Equipment Operator, General Services, 5/12/2022. Paolomi Sen, Senior Planning Project Manager, Department of Planning, 5/30/2022. The Civil Service. I'm sorry.
I have a correction for Shamichael Cohen. That should read Human Resource Generalist 2.
Okay, so noted. The Civil Service Office reported on the following non-competitive class appointments. Tricia Marie Losi, Account Clerk, Treasurer's Office, 4/18/2022. Theodis Johnson, Community Aid, Police Department, 5/9/2022. Hollister Maccabee, Hostler. What is that title, Tatiana?
Got me on that one, but I could pull up the description.
Okay.
Horses. Clean the horses in the stalls.
Yeah, I knew it had something to do with the horses.
A hostler. Okay.
Yeah.
was actually gonna raise my hand. I knew exactly. what it was.
Participates in the daily care and feeding of the police horses.
Wouldn't he be a wrangler then? I would have thought he'd be a wrangler.
That's more for Westerns.
We have somebody from the library. I'm sure the librarian could help with that, right? Okay, hostler. With the police department, 4/25/2022. Lee Van 2, Department of Water, 4/22/2022. Christopher Cornell, Police Commander, Police Department, 2/26/2022. Sadiq, Reservoir Patrol Guard, Department of Water, 4/27/2022. Annette Smalls, School Crossing Officer, Police Department, 4/7/2022. Hey, Mike, I think we're getting some feedback from you.
Sorry about that. I'll go on mute, guys.
Okay. The Civil Service Office reported on the following exempt class appointments. Aaron Glennon, Deputy Director of Planning, Department of Planning, 4/25/2022. Civil Service Office reported on the following labor class appointments. Gary Jackson, Custodial Worker, Albany Public Library, 4/11/2022. Kamara Osman, Custodial Worker, Albany Public Library, 4/11/2022. Narsing Rao Teniru, Maintenance Laborer, Albany Housing Authority, 4/27/2022. Agenda item 4, creation of new job specifications. Budget Director, Tatiana, you're up.
So the Parking Authority is requesting a budget director specifically for the authority. This title is going to replace their chief budget manager. And they expanded the supervisory powers of the position.
Did they expand the office?
I know Seville is on, so she can speak a little bit more on that.
We are planning to expand the office. We are planning on hiring an accounts receivable specialist, as well as a fiscal advisor.
Who in the Parking Authority had a similar job or position or fulfilled the functions of this job?
We had Misty Ferguson as our chief budget manager. She actually resigned from that position about 2 weeks ago.
Is it a change in salary as well?
That is correct.
Is there a compelling reason for that?
The salary would correlate to the supervisory functions that this person would perform.
Didn't the previous person have some supervisory responsibilities?
No, there actually wasn't anyone that reported to her. She was kind of her own department.
So just to be clear, the office is growing from 1 to 3?
That is correct.
Okay, I make the motion that we accept.
I second it.
Passed and carried. Agenda item. I'm sorry. Yes, number 5, amendment of job specifications, engineer.
Yes, so the water department wants to switch the requirement of having a New York State professional engineering license to within 6 months to allow the opportunity to be able to promote the employees that pass the exam and are just waiting for their license to process.
I think that seems fair. I make the motion we accept.
Second.
Passed and carried. Agenda item number 6, old business. Tatiana, what do we have in old business?
None to report.
Item number 7, new business. Under the new business, I have asked Tatiana last month to extend an invitation to representatives from some of the outside agencies for whom we conduct Civil Service Commission business for. And I'd like to thank you all for showing up today. The reason for this is we have had, and we have witnessed an increasing amount of untimely submissions with regards to personnel changes for every appointment, and personnel change important for, this are all important for civil service to keep an accurate roster. Late submissions of the items before the commission are problematic. Last month, I know we had, I want to say 4, but may have been 5 submissions from outside agencies as far back, that took place as far back as last August. And that is, it does not meet the minimum standard of compliance related civil service work relative to the state direction. There are some other issues, provisional appointments being made without lists being canvassed first, resulting in non-mandatory lists. Authorities need to confer with civil service with regards to any compliance related questions. As the overseer of some of these issues that come in front of us, we can't in good faith hand down an appropriate decision when the submitting agency is delinquent in its submissions. I don't know if you've had these types of directions before, but it's been noticeable over the last couple of years. And last year or last month in April, when we had a couple from August, it came to a head with our meeting. Timeliness, certainly as it applies to appeals for candidates that may not have been afforded an opportunity for employment, are really important. Phil Banasek's from the Corp Council, and he can attest to how important timeliness issues are to these decisions. And I would offer you all the opportunity to make a case that perhaps you misjudged in some way, or explain what procedures you may have taken undertaken in the last couple of weeks to maybe address some of the stuff, or what your hopes are for the future. Anybody want to take a whack at this?
Tom, we have 2 hands up.
Oh, okay. Do I have to unmute you? I got you. Andrea, how about you first?
Hi, hello, and thank you for inviting us all to this, to your monthly meeting. And on behalf of the district, I agree. There have been some untimeliness. I would just offer that during COVID, we have had extremely high turnover in our HR department. And again, we were experiencing turnover again. So COVID caused us to go down and cut our departmental staff by 50%. We are cut again in half by 50%. So it just kind of made things back up a little bit. So we will make sure that we are submitting timely requests. I will say though, that we are fairly good in keeping contact with Ms. Diaz. We're good about contacting her and seeking her opinion and her advice. But we have definitely had some untimely submission of RPCs. And again, it's our lack of personnel and in training new people when they come in on how to do it. And this, working with a district this size, we have about 1,800 employees right now. And again, we're just at 50% staff. So we're really holding it up as best as we can at this point.
Well,
And the steps that we've taken to ensure that we can move forward is just having dedicated personnel to, in addition to myself, having 2 more dedicated personnel working on some of those RPCs so that it's not, so each time the people that were doing it, they actually went to a different job. So, but now we have someone that's not going anywhere that's doing it. So, yeah.
okay. Linda, can you pick this up for a second? I've got to handle something.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. West. Can we hear from Melanie Metzer?
Yes, so as you can see, I'm the acting interim director at Albany Public Library right now. I'm generally the assistant director. I'm also currently the acting HR director. We are in the same boat as everybody else. The Great Resignation hit us equally as hard. I am not an HR professional, so I have been trying to navigate the world of civil service and the paperwork. And once, like Ms. West, I'm working diligently with Tatiana to coordinate what paperwork I might be missing or whatnot. We're hoping to get everything up and running. We hired an HR director. 2 weeks after her start, she took a position with another location. So the HR world is hopping right now, and positions are open and people can take better paid positions in other places. So we don't fault them for that, but that just leaves us at a loss of HR individuals that can work for us. To remedy this, we actually have just hired a new HR director. She will be starting in 2 weeks on June 13th with us. She'll be meeting with Tatiana when she starts. I've already have her meeting with another HR consultant that had been working with us in the past. So hopefully our intent is to get our HR department back up and running by early July, hopefully at the very latest, and back on top. But hopefully Tatiana has been very helpful with us in identifying those papers that we might have fallen behind on. And we're trying really hard to keep up with it. But similar to what Ms. West said, it's like a rotating door here with other positions as well. I just had 2 resignations today, and so 2 more positions will be hired. And so it's just a constant battle keeping people employed at the moment. We're trying. It's not for lack of trying, but we are trying. So I appreciate the concern and the leeway you guys are giving us in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Anyone else? We have other representatives from Albany Housing Authority as well as Albany Parking Authority. Would you like to chime in, either one of you?
Sure, this is Melissa Shea, and I'm going to try to turn my video on. I will warn you, though, my 1-year-old grandson is sitting here with me, so all bets might be off. He might start throwing food. So, pretty much the same as these guys said. I'm fairly new to the HR department. I've only been in it a couple years. And been kind of slowly learning, and Tatiana has been gracious enough to answer my 10,000 questions that I throw at her, because I was very clueless when it came to civil service and what the compliance rules were and what I was supposed to be doing. And so she answers my questions for me all the time. And we've been working diligently to make sure all of our RPCs were, up to date, and to make sure that all of our provisional employees were all listed and accounted for. And I'm pretty sure, Tatiana, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure we're pretty much caught up, and we're current. So
Yeah, housing has done a huge, you put in a big effort to report everything. And just as a reminder, it's not just appointments. So anything listed under personnel changes should be reported to the commission and to civil service, so that we are able to have an accurate roster record. It's super important when it comes to, if God forbid we had to do layoffs, and just so that our records are accurate. It is a portion of civil service law. But I will say, Melissa, we have worked for months. We kind of, right before our annual report, me and Melissa took a lot of time to kind of figure out where we were with provisionals and backdating some appointments. So if there are outstanding appointments that you have to make, especially now that we know that, you know, we haven't been getting some of these changes, feel free to send them along so that we're able to report them and so that our records are accurate.
Yes. So thank you, Tatiana, for all of your help and all of your guidance. And yeah, and I mean, there was some stuff like I didn't realize that we were supposed to report annual salary changes when they come through. So I'm gonna give you a heads up. Be prepared for July.
Yeah. So I'll change any change in salary should be reported to the civil service.
Okay.
And then there is another. I know Tom briefly spoke on our provisional appointments. For the most part, I feel like we're more concerned with those provisional appointments where we have lists, especially continuous lists for our clerk typist, our library clerk, library assistant, librarian one. Library assistant, librarian one, not so much because there's usually a lot of interest in those positions. So usually we don't have a non-mandatory list. But for those other titles, specifically clerk typist and account clerk and library clerk, we have to make sure that we are canvassing and that if we're making a provisional appointment, we're only making it when we have a non-mandatory list of 3 candidates or less. It's a civil service requirement, the law of 3. So we have to make sure that we're abiding by that. And as we all know that the account clerk list, the clerk typist and account and library clerk, there's been less interest. So what I've been doing is all of this correspondence was being emailed only. I've gone back to emailing and mailing a hard copy to candidates to see if that if they're receiving something in the mail will prompt them to respond. But it has resulted in a lot of non-mandatory lists, which allow us to appoint a provisional candidate. So just for us to be able to cover ourselves, once I send over a non-mandatory list, if you're not choosing one of the candidates on the list, make a note on it that you're electing to choose a higher provisional, but that person must come in and test within 60 days so that we are covering ourselves as far as making these provisional appointments for positions where an active list exists. And then we can have either put it on a training and we can talk about RPCs. I know Andrea West, you are a veteran in civil service. She worked in this role before. That's something you guys probably don't know, but Andrea worked in our office. So she's quite aware of RPCs, but for other people that don't have much experience with civil service, we could do either one-on-one discussions to specifically talk about what your department may need help or clarification on, or we could all hop on a training, whatever works for you guys.
I would take this opportunity to recommend that you take Tatiana up on our kind offer. There has been, and we asked for this meeting because of the increased level of non-compliance on the notification. And I understand that COVID certainly presented a challenge unlike any we'd had before. Some of these issues extend well past the start of COVID. And I would hope that you guys are fully committed to making the kind of changes that we need to see so that all of our actions are past muster and are defensible, which is the goal.
And I believe Andrea West and Melanie have additional comments. So Andrea, your hand was up first.
Thank you very much. So what we can do as a part of our interview process, myself and Mr. Petrin, we can make, so for our typists, a lot of times, as you said, Ms. Diaz, the lists do not yield people that are willing to take. So I know, so this is one of the things that we find for the typist list is that the salaries differ. And I believe the salary for the school district typist is lower than a salary for a typist you know, whether it's at the City of Albany or at the library. So a lot of times they won't take the appointment or take the interview. So we do wind up hiring provisionally. One of the things that I have found out and noticed through our correspondence is that those individuals will not come in and take the test, or they'll forget to take the test, even though they've received printouts from myself and Mr. Petrin of where to go, of who to contact, of how to apply. So one of the things that we can incorporate in our interview process would be letting them know, listen, if you have not applied to take the exam within 60 days, then we will have to remove you from the position. So maybe we will, if we add that on, that will inspire people to, oh, let me get over there and take the exam. Because then you have too much time going by and they're still sitting there for something where you can easily just take the exam and move forward. It's different if they take the exam and they just don't pass the performance portion, but so that's something that we can do, and I'll talk to Mr. Petrin about that, and then I can put a note on my calendar to let our administrators know whatever building we're sending that typist to, listen, in 60, you know, here's a marker, remind this person that they need to take this exam. So I can remind the administrators to let them know, and that will I believe, be a big help.
Okay.
Melanie?
Thank you. I was just had more of a question. I was wondering if it would be possible to receive that roster with all of the current data, just so we could compare it to our own records to see what we're missing and what we haven't done. Because we're essentially, with the hire of the new HR person, we are the person who held the position for 2 weeks noticed some holes, and she had started the process, but we would like to continue that if
So
possible.
roster cards are based on each specific employee. I can share what we have for what you guys submitted for the annual report. And then we can kind of backtrack. I think that's how me and Melissa did it. I can share what your provisional listing is, so that if you know, for example, if you have 5 library clerks or different titles that are listed for us that are provisionals, but you've hired 3 people since, you would know that you have to submit 3 RPCs for that, for those people that are not listed. I also will say I would probably try to get on my calendar soon, because I will be out towards the end of this month for a while. But there will be people here to be able to assist and provide guidance while I'm away. And then one more request that we are making, the City of Albany is also experiencing some staffing shortages in our office here in HR. I think I've done a good job at being timely and being able to respond to requests, but we are going to start requesting a 5-day business day for requests, maybe not to post positions, because I know sometimes the library will ask. Parking definitely uses that our page to post, but for things like canvassing a list, I'm currently transitioning a lot of our work. It's going to be somebody that's new to canvassing and returning certified lists. So if we could just have a little bit of room to be able to provide a canvas request, that would be appreciated.
And additionally, if you have any questions, the office, you know, while Tatiana is there, it's fantastic. But even in her absence, they have great people in that office. Please ask a question rather than try to figure something out if you're not clear on it. Just make the effort. Give somebody over there a call. Tulani runs a great shop. Tatiana is incredibly, responsive. And what we're trying to do is just get everybody on the same page so we all work a little better.
Well, we heard from most people. I think there's still Savelle Barber. Is there anything that you would like to add to the conversation?
Just that I second what everyone had said about, COVID and the high turnover rates. I'll say personally, I'm pulling double duty as general counsel for the APA as well as HR. So RPC forms tend to fall off my plate. I'm not saying that's an excuse at all, and I will certainly make that a priority moving forward. But I'm hoping that maybe I could staff up my department a little bit more so I can sort of share these responsibilities.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes the new business. Appointing.
Commissioner McNaughton, can I take
Yes.
just a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
As Tatiana mentioned that Ms. West, Andrea West with the City School District of Albany worked in the city's Human Resource Department for a long time. She may have, when we mentioned the position of hostler, her eyes lit up. I think she can probably tell us what that position is.
Please feel free. You're in education. Teach us all something.
Oh, no. Actually, Ms. Diaz, she did it good. That was perfect. It was exactly what it was. It was exactly what it was.
I
will
did
say
cheat. I had to
typically
pull up the description, so I cheated.
That's okay though. We use our resources, but I think that typically that position was usually a younger person, someone that was like, in high school or fresh out of high school. So she nailed it. She nailed it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea, and thanks for the prompt, Linda. Tatiana, on the appointing authority of civil service compliance, care to speak on that, please?
Oh, no, I think we've covered all the items that we had discussed.
We put that to bed last month, correct?
Yeah, I think this was what we met with our guest on today.
Right.
What I'm gonna do, of course, I'll reach out to you guys as a follow-up to get some time on my schedule to maybe answer any questions you have, tie up some loose ends. I know there's a few, Melissa, I have a few inquiries that I'm waiting from the state. I'm also learning in this position, so I do a lot of research. And I do it not only for you guys, but I do it for all City of Albany departments. So sometimes I can respond quickly, but other times, those are my baby shower balloons, sorry. I have to do a little more digging. But I'll get some time to either provide training, just provide a general update so that before I go, you guys know where you're at, and then you can continue working with Talani and the office staff to continue making progress towards making sure we're meeting compliance.
Great, thank you so much. Before we adjourn, I'd like to recognize Linda Jackson-Chalmers, who's wrapping up her 6-year term on the commission. And as a result, we have a, what would that be called, Tatiana? What did we get? What did the mayor offer?
So it is a proclamation to Linda
Proclamation
today.
in honor of Linda Jackson-Chalmers. And I'll read from it now, please, if you'll allow. Whereas Linda Jackson-Chalmers has been a member of the City of Albany Municipal Civil Service Commission for 6 years. And whereas the knowledge and expertise that Linda brought to the Municipal Civil Service Commission meant a great deal to the other commissioners. Her insight, by virtue of her many years of community service, both in human resources and as a deputy superintendent of schools here in Albany, was invaluable. Her natural inquisitiveness, complemented by a wealth of experience in HR and administration, her contribution to various community service organizations, and general sense of fairness was critical to her role on the commission and made her a natural for the position. And whereas Linda has the great capacity to view issues in a broad scope while not relinquishing the diligence required in the mission of the Municipal Civil Service Commission, on many occasions, Linda provided context, which given her experience, only she could, thereby allowing the commission to provide the greatest and most complete level of service, so deserving of our citizens. The last 6 years have been but another example of Linda's unwavering commitment to her community. Her grace and intuition will be sorely missed, but no more so than she herself. And whereas Linda serves as the chair of the board for the African American Cultural Center of the Capital Region, a role in which she guides the center to continue its mission to develop, enhance, and promote the contributions that African Americans have made to our country and our local communities. Her work has brought honors from the Hudson Mohawk Association of Colleges and Universities, the Urban League, the YMCA, and many other groups. And whereas Linda received the Capital Region Chamber Women of Excellence Award in 2003 for her role as assistant to the superintendent for human resources in the Albany City School District of Albany. And whereas Linda was one of Skidmore's first higher education opportunity program students during what she says were the exciting and troubling times of the late 60s, this helped her inspire her career in education and advocacy. First an art teacher at Albany's Arbor Hill Elementary School, she went on to become principal from 1986 to 1998, during which time she instituted holistic programs for students and families. She then served as assistant superintendent in the Albany City School District, a position from which she retired in 2012. Whereas Linda Jackson Chalmers is stepping down from service on the Municipal Civil Service Commission, now therefore I, Kathy M. Sheehan, Mayor of the City of Albany, New York, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 24th, 2022 to be Linda Jackson Chalmers Day in the City of Albany, and ask residents to join me in recognizing the contributions that Linda has made to the Municipal Service Commission, the city as a whole, and thank her for her dedication to this position. Thank you, Linda, for everything.
Thank you. You're more than welcome. And it's been a pleasure to serve with all of the great, bright, dynamic young people in the Human Resources Department, and also particularly Commissioners McNaughton and Casey. I've really enjoyed being in service to the city and working with you in making Albany a better place. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. And that does adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, June 29th, 2022 at 4:30. We will not have either Tatiana or Linda at that meeting. So it will be you're going to leave Mr. Cassidy and I to fend for ourselves. God,
No, we'll leave you in good hands. You'll have Talani with you.
God help us all. That is great. Have a great day. Thank you for all our visitors. Thank you for coming in, for accommodating us and hearing us out. Tatiana, I hope to see you before you call it a day over there for your sabbatical. And have a great night, everybody.